I got two more stars for you. Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman. Good morning, gentlemen.
What's going on? How you doing?
What's going on?
Excellent.
Stephen A. up so late. Stephen A. up so late. He's still in Los Angeles.
I'm still in Los Angeles because I was here working Saturday and Sunday. I didn't get off Friday, bro.
How
Don't work
about
that way
it?
for me.
I'm trying to give you some props. You
I know. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
All
That's
right.
all I'm saying.
No days off for these guys. Let's get into it. Coming up, also, don't miss our reaction to the war of words between LeBron James and Laura Ingraham. Plus, you don't want to miss how Stephen A. feels about his friend, Tim Tebow, apparently getting a shot in the majors. How about it? But, gentlemen, about last night, LeBron James led Team LeBron, to victory in the first team captain All-American game since he won his third All-Star MVP award for his efforts. Stephen A., you were there, as we just discussed. What grade would you give the All-Star game?
I'd give it an A. I'd give it an A because it did what I suggested they needed to do, and that's give more effort. And that's all you asked for. I mean, listen, you're not going to go out there and go all out and risk injury and what have you. You've got a second half of the season to play. You've got stars on the court, most of who would be in the playoffs in the postseason. And so you certainly don't want to jeopardize things. You've got team officials that are telling players, okay, go out there, have a good time, but watch yourself, guard yourself. We've got a championship that we're gearing towards, that we're aiming for and what have you. And so you know you don't expect and anticipate max effort. I think for me, however, looking at All-Star games in the past, it got so bad. Last year, I left before the All-Star game even began. I was so disgusted with it. Just the lack of effort that you see on a part of players over the last several years. It became nothing but a layup line or a dunk drill or a dunk contest. And when you're watching an actual game, that's not what you're paying to see. One of the things that I religiously throw out there as a comparison is that during the off season, when these guys are playing in summer, in whether it's just summertime, training, trying to get themselves in shape for the season, they play harder than they played during All-Star weekend. And to me, that makes no sense. I'm not saying that you go all out 1,000%, but you can give some effort. It's not football. You know, you don't have to worry about injuries to the degree that you have to worry about on the football field. If you can show up on the court during the summertime and give some effort, not necessarily go all out, but give enough effort where you're putting yourself through a decent workout, and there's a level of competition that actually exists with nobody watching. You're just in the gym by yourself, away from the crowds and everything like that. How can you have people paying premium dollars, packing arenas, an All-Star week evolved around you, with the culmination being you all competing against one another, and then go out there and you don't do it? That was my issue with them in the past. That was not my issue with them last night. They showed up, they competed, and I appreciated that because I saw more effort. Again, it wasn't max effort to some degree, obviously, but they went out there and they competed against one another, and that's all you asked for. You saw a couple of blocks. You saw Russell Westbrook trying to block something. You saw Joel Embiid trying to block something. You saw him talking smack to LeBron James, going back and forth and things of that nature. Those are the kind of things that you're looking for when all-stars step on the same court and compete with one another. So I was glad they gave me that, and that's all I wanted, and that's why I give them an A.
The All-Star game gets a B. And the reason is, I don't know if an All-Star game can get an A, because it's not really a game. That's about as good as you could expect. They'd have to really tweak the stakes in order to get better than that. I think that's possible. I don't even know if that should be the end game, but I'll give it a B. I won't grade it on a curve. Look, LeBron James led a comeback. I think the fact that he had to choose and Steph had to choose team, they had a little more pride about it, a little more stake in it. I'm sure everyone was talked to, and there was a lot of focus on, hey, guys, don't just make it, Stephen A., as you said, a layup line, right? Let's make this a little more of a game. This is becoming a problem. So even though some guys look tired and guys obviously going out and partying All-Star game weekend, they were giving it much more of an effort. It seemed that there were higher stakes in this game, like they took a little more pride in who would actually win, as evidenced not just by LeBron leading the comeback. Think about that, a furious comeback in an All-Star game. But as you heard, the defense at the end of the game, Steph Curry couldn't get a three-point shot off to tie the game, at the end, because guys were playing defense. We saw couple of Raptors. As I said, I've been criticizing the Raptors, saying I don't believe in them in the playoffs, Stephen A., because in the end, they share the ball well, but what do? They ISO DeRozan or Lowry, and they're not quite good enough to do that. And sure enough, at the end of the game, some Raptors were ISO'd, and it didn't turn out well for their team. There were interesting things that happened in the game. It was competitive. It was close. It featured a comeback. It featured defense. All that stuff is good. I want to address so I'll give it a B, but it's still an exhibition. I want to address, Stephen A., why in the summer league sometimes, or when guys are practicing, they go at it harder, the stars do, than in an all-star game. You said, hey, if you can do that when the cameras are pointed at you, then when everyone's there and paying premium dollars to see you, why can't you do that? I think it's precisely because everyone is there paying premium dollars. These guys are the best in the world at the highest level of sport in the world. Say whatever you want about football or soccer or whatever, baseball, hockey, take any other sport. It's almost not an exaggeration at all to say every single person on earth who can play in the NBA is playing in the NBA. That's almost not hyperbolic. It is the most competitive, the most athletic sport league in the world. And that's why it's the best, in my opinion, obviously. So, with these guys, you take the best of the best, and they're competing against each other, and everyone's watching. I think part of the reason it becomes more of an exhibition is because it's like a wink to the audience. Look, this is not really my best. They don't want to go 100% at each other, risk injury in a meaningless exhibition, right? Or not as meaningful as it might be exhibition. So the fact that they take it so easy on defense is a nod to the audience to say, look, I'm better than this guy's better than this, but we can't go all out in an exhibition. I think that's the problem, and that's what they have to address, and I think they took good strides, Adam Silver did, toward addressing that issue by having LeBron and Steph choose the teams, by doing it the way they did. The guys seem to have a bigger stake in the outcome and played a little harder, and for that reason, I give it a B.
Well, I don't know why you would feel the need to bring up the absence of 100% and the level of competition that they're not going to engage in, because I stated that point about 5 different times. Everybody knows that. What I'm saying is that it was so ridiculously nonchalant. I stated it 5 times because I knew you'd have difficulty in comprehending it. The level of nonchalance that they have exhibited, the level of nonchalance that they have religiously displayed in recent memory was what became so problematic. The nod that you're alluding to, the years that they gave it, was what was ultimately becoming insulting to the fans. You had stars that would descend upon All-Star Weekend that departed complaining about the level of competition that they weren't seeing. Everyone knows that you're not going to give max effort, but they were so flagrant with their nonchalance in years past, it got to a point where people felt like they were damn near getting robbed of their money. And that's the kind of stuff that you can't have, which is why LeBron and Steph Curry and all the other players not only stepped up, but came out publicly and verbally acknowledged what level of play that they were trying to put forth yesterday in comparison to what they had displayed in years past. LeBron James, after getting the MVP trophy, articulated to the masses, Steph and I took it upon ourselves, blah, 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 because we knew what it was compared to years past. And it was turning the fan base off. That's what this is about. And so nobody's talking about max effort. We're saying some effort. Just give some.
Right. That's why I give it a B, Stephen A. That's why I give it a B. If you compare it to recent years, you're going to give it an A. But it returned more or less to what it was. But it never was an A, in my opinion. Like All-Star games, if you rank them, the worst one is the Pro Bowl. Then the NBA All-Star Game. Major League Baseball is probably the best one because you can play baseball a little harder without worry of injury. Whatever sport, the more contact there is, the more likelihood of an injury on any given play, the less good their All-Star exhibition is going to be. So we know that about the NBA. But yes, you're right. It was trending in the wrong direction, and they seemed to bring it back last night to what it once was, which wasn't an A back then and isn't an A now, but I give it a B.
Well, again, the A stems from the fact that I don't expect but so much from all-star competition, but a little bit more effort than you would normally give or you would give in recent memory. That's what I got. All I was looking for was some effort. You can't sit up there and just snub your nose at people and the paying customer and literally show them you don't give a damn about anything. Go out there, and if you're going up against all-stars, and guess what? You don't get to face them throughout the year for the most part. You want to look at them, you want to compete just a little bit, and that's what they gave us.
Saw a little defense tracking in the right direction, and now we'll have the All-Star Draft, obviously, which was exciting, and be televised on TV next year, which is also a positive, gentlemen. But that was Sunday. Let's get into Saturday night. Always a good time. My favorite night of the weekend. Donovan Mitchell won the dunk contest. Devin Booker won the three-point contest, marking the first time both winners were under 22 years old. Max, I know you stuck around for the Saturday night festivities. How did you feel about the weekend as a whole?
I thought it was really good. I was surprised about comments like, is this the worst dunk contest and stuff like that? I thought the dunk contest was really good. I thought guys cared. I thought, you know, it's the old Lupe Fiasco line. Oh, you're giving the come see, come saw, Molly? Not so much. It's the old Lupe Fiasco line that I quote from time to time on